The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
That's right. On Tuesday, for the first time in U.S. history, the Speaker of the House of Representatives was voted out of his job. California's Kevin McCarthy held the role of House Speaker for just 269 days, holding on a few months longer than Quibi, but not lasting quite as long as that bizarre Orbitz lava lamp drink thing from the 90s. Now, it wasn't easy for McCarthy to become Speaker after control of the House was given to Republicans back in January. Even though, unlike you and me, who probably dreamt of being an astronaut or a race car driver or even the ice cream man, the 57-year-old California Republican held something of a lifelong desire to oversee the House's business. He first assumed office in 2007 to represent California's 22nd district, and Newsweek said he went on to become one of the GOP's most persuasive, compelling members. Back in 2010, he was even named one of the party's Young Guns, too. Which is too bad, because just like Young Guns 2, everyone on the cover of this book has been relegated to the congressional bargain bin of history. Virginia's Eric Cantor served as House Majority Leader from 2011 to 2014 until he unexpectedly lost a primary election to a fellow Republican named Brat. And Wisconsin's Paul Ryan was the 54th Speaker of the House from 2015 until 2019, until he chose not to run for re-election and left office in 2019 when Democrats regained control of the House. Now, we're about to get even more into the weeds about House speakership battles to catch you up on where we are right now. So to hold your attention, because you need this context, we'll split the screen with some fun stock footage. Back in 2015, McCarthy was in the running to become House Speaker instead of Paul Ryan after former Speaker John Boehner resigned. But McCarthy pulled out of that race when he couldn't gain the support of the far-right House Freedom Caucus, the band of highly conservative House members with roots in the Tea Party. That's important because when McCarthy was running for Speaker of the House again back in January, it was the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus who again stood in opposition to him ascending to the position. It took 15 separate rounds of voting for McCarthy to round up enough support to become House Speaker. But he never won the hearts and minds of all of his fellow Republicans, like Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who didn't think McCarthy was conservative enough, and others who thought he wasn't trustworthy. And in order to secure the votes he needed to become Speaker, he made a deal that lowered the threshold for what's known as the motion to vacate, essentially a vote of no confidence, to just one person. And even though motions to vacate have tried and failed before in the past, this time it was, different. On Monday, Gaetz introduced the motion, and on Tuesday, it was put to a vote. And in spite of opposition from some fellow Republicans who worried an empty speakership would plunge the House into chaos, Gaetz said this:
"Chaos is Speaker McCarthy. Chaos is somebody who we cannot trust with their word. The one thing that the White House, House Democrats, and many of us on the conservative side of the Republican caucus would argue is that the thing we have in common, Kevin McCarthy said something to all of us at one point or another that he didn't really mean and never intended to live up to."
And thus, the vote came and went, and McCarthy found himself kicked out of his lifelong dream job. But just like the guy selling Sonos systems at Best Buy can attest, every house needs a speaker, so who's it going to be now? Well, for the moment, it's this guy. He might look like an aging John Oliver, but in reality, he's North Carolina Republican Representative Patrick McHenry. House rules require speakers to keep a little list of people who can take over in case they end up vacating the job. And while getting kicked out is certainly no vacation, the seat is indeed vacant. And McHenry's first up on that list to take over as Speaker pro tempore for the time being. I'm being literal and redundant. Pro tempore is Latin for the time being.
It would be prudent to first recess for the relative caucus and conferences to meet and discuss the path forward. Accordingly, pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess subject to the call of the chair.
Yep. After slamming the gavel as if he was trying to absolutely obliterate a water bug, he called a recess until Republicans can figure out what to do next. Because right now, McHenry can't really do much of anything. He doesn't have the power to bring legislation to the floor, issue subpoenas, or any other official House business. Though that doesn't mean there's no movement in the House. They're, moving furniture. As revenge for getting him kicked out of the Speaker's role, CNN reports that Kevin McCarthy worked to get former Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer kicked out of their little bonus offices in the Capitol building as payback. They're these little secret offices known as hideaways where senators take naps, and the House uses a couple of extra ones out of convenience. But anyway, McHenry had Steny and Nancy evicted, even though Nancy didn't even vote to kick out Kevin. She wasn't there for the vote because she was getting ready for Dianne Feinstein's funeral. If this all sounds like high school about who gets the better locker, you're right. Except I don't think I got paid $174,000 a year to be on the student council. Anyway, who might be the next speaker? Well, for one, it's probably not going to be this guy because he's already ruled himself out, and they just kicked him out. And as of right now, there are two front-running candidates. There's Ohio's Jim Jordan, a founding member of the House Freedom Caucus who's likely familiar with the expression, "The club will lend you a jacket if you'd like to dine here." And he's a former assistant wrestling coach who's been accused of helping cover up sexual abuse claims from when he worked at Ohio State University. He's denied that, but he has publicly announced that he'll run for this job. The other frontrunner is Louisiana's Steve Scalise, the current House Majority Leader who survived an assassination attempt during a congressional baseball game back in 2017 and is currently battling blood cancer. Other candidates in the House have thrown their hats into the ring, but here's the thing. The Constitution doesn't say that you have to be a member of the House to become Speaker of the House. As long as you get the votes, it could be anyone. So, how about the QAnon Shaman? The convicted January 6th rioter who regrets pleading guilty for taking part in one of America's darkest moments seems ready to throw his horns into the ring. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation actor Randy Quaid are throwing their weight behind Donald Trump, who said this during a break from his massive civil fraud trial in New York, in which the judge has already ruled that Trump committed fraud by overvaluing properties that form the basis of his family business, like Trump Tower.
A lot of people have been calling me about to be careful. All I can say is we'll do whatever's best for the country and for the Republican Party. We have some great people. We just want to say we have some great people.
Again, it could be anyone. And if a conspiracy theorist and a former president facing 91 felony criminal charges aren't your cup of tea, how about me? As your speaker, Gaetz already called a motion to vacate and I'm out. All right, let's start this all over again.